Hello, my name is Dr. Diane Dowdey. I'm an associate professor in the English department here at San Diego State University. And I have a message that I'd like to share with you. I was a graduate student at the University of Wisconsin in the late 1970s, early 1980s, when there was really the beginning of the gay pride movement, and I was fortunate enough to be able to see that happening in Wisconsin. And during that time period, I came back home to Texas and was talking to my grandmother about her childhood. She was born in the 19th century and she was raised in northern Alabama, rural northern Alabama. And in telling about her childhood, she was telling me a story about a man who had been a teacher in the community, and she was telling me about how the children in the community had really tormented him. They had played all kinds of tricks on him. They had said unkind, unpleasant things to him. And she was telling me how guilty she felt about the way that they had treated him. And then she looked at me full in the face and said, "And Diane, that man was probably a homosexual." And I was absolutely floored. I didn't even know my grandmother knew the word homosexual, much less understood it. And she was feeling guilty for her behavior. She was needing to express that sense of guilt about the behavior. But she was also trying to make sense of what had happened in the culture at the time. And when she was telling me the story, I was thinking about Sherwood Anderson's story from Winesburg, Ohio, called Hands, which is a very, very similar story about a man who is tormented by the larger community because of his differentness and ends up having to just leave, just abandon the community. And I remember my grandmother was telling me the story thinking, oh, she's telling me the truth behind Sherwood Anderson's story of Winesburg, Ohio, and making me see that what Anderson was writing about was real and was a really part of the culture. And I'm not just telling you that, back in the early 20th century, people were persecuted or harmed for their beliefs, and that, 60 years later, people feel guilty about that. But also to remind you that one of the things that has happened, one of the changes that has happened, is in the early 20th century, if people were tormented, they had to leave. They couldn't find anybody that would stick up for them. And that is certainly not true in the 21st century. At San Diego State University, we have policies about treating people equally and about dealing with bullies and unpleasantness that happens, so that if you ever feel that you're being discriminated against or bullied for any reason, there are people that you can come to that'll stick up for you. There's people that will see that these policies are adhered to. There are people who will understand and not just understand and be compassionate, although most people need that, but will also make sure that this is not allowed to continue. And that's a huge difference from earlier times, and a real change that has happened in American culture. And I hope that if you experience anything like that, that you will remember that you can reach out, that there is a hand that will reach back out to you. Thank you.